Ryan here with Prudential Pest Solutions. In this video, we're going to be talking about the biology of subterranean termites, the damage that they cause, and the treatments that are provided by professionals such as ourselves. So let's get to it. We're located in Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania, we only have subterranean termites. So for this video and for this information, if you live in the south of the United States or out west, you're going to have different kinds of termites in addition to subterranean termites. But where we are in Pennsylvania, we only have subterranean termites. And as we can see here, I had dug up right at the foundation of a customer's house that had termites, and lo and behold, we see some here. Termites in general are about half the size of a grain of rice. They're clear because they're subterranean, so they can't really be exposed to sunlight, the air, and the outside environment in general. So what happens is they live in the ground, and then they'll find the wood somehow, and they'll get into the wood. When they do that, they can cause tremendous damage. But the damage often goes unnoticed for years and years and years. So in a little bit, we're going to show you what some of that damage looks like, what some of that activity looks like. But for now, let's get more in depth on subterranean termites as an insect in general. So subterranean termites, just like bees, wasps, and ants, are social insects, meaning they have one queen who's going to lay the eggs and have a bunch of workers that are out there helping rear the young, develop the colony, and go out and look for resources. Now, when we find termites in a home or structure, they're not just going to be crawling around the top of your kitchen counter or on the floor or anything like that. They're going to be inside of mud shelter tubings or inside of the wood themselves, which is why a lot of times the damage and the activity goes unnoticed for years and years and years, because they're just not readily seen like ants and bees and spiders and that sort of thing are. So in the colony itself, you're going to have the workers. They're clear, they're small, like I said, about half the size of a grain of rice, and their job is just to support the colony as a whole. Now, when the colony gets large enough and healthy enough, usually on average a minimum of 7 years, they're going to produce what's called elates, or termite swarmers. Now, these are the kind that actually do look like ants in the sense that they're dark, they're bigger, and they have wings on them. So let me give you an example of a phone call that we get in the springtime. Somebody will say, hey, every spring I get these winged ants that come up out of my basement or out of my baseboard or in my kitchen or at my windowsill. And it's weird. They're only there for a few days and then they die, or I spray them and they die, and that's the end of it. Well, those could be the winged reproductives or the elates of the termites. And what their job is to, and they have wings, which you'll see here in a little bit, but their job is to go out, find other termite colonies, mate with them, and start their own colonies. So it's an indication of the health of the colony, but it tells us a little bit about how long that's been there. Because if you have one termite that makes it into your house, that colony is not going to be able to grow and produce these winged reproductives, these swarmers, in one season. Like I said, on average, it's going to take about 7 years. So if we do have a home that has termite elates, or the termite swarmers, we know that that colony's been there for at least a few years. So as we see here in the video, this was on top of a windowsill in a basement. I was scraping away some of the mud shelter tubing, and we could see all of the elates, or the termite swarmers, that were peeking their head out. They all had wings on them. I know you can't really see it here because we can just see their faces, but I just thought that was kind of a neat zoomed in view of them before they actually go off and swarm. So on average, I would say there's 3 scenarios in which most people know that they have termites or suspect that they have termites. The first scenario is, like I just said, with the winged swarmers, is once a year they'll get, like I said, for a period of a couple days, they'll get all these winged ant-looking guys that come up. All right, so that's an indication that it could be termites. Now, a caveat to that is other social insects will also make those swarmers or those winged reproductives. Ants, for example, will do that. Another indication that you may have termites, or that you do have termites, is what we're looking at here, which are the mud shelter tubing. Remember what I said is that termites can't be exposed to sunlight or the outside environment. So they create these mud shelter tubes as a way for them to travel along the outside of wood, or on the outside of a structure, or on the outside of a wall or something like that, to go from the soil to the wood, and they can be protected. And inside of that mud shelter tube, they're protected from sunlight because it's dark in there. But also they're able to control their humidity, because you'll see that moisture is a huge component of termite control and prevention, because subterranean termites specifically are not just going to go after just dry wood that's laying around. There needs to be a certain moisture content in there. Now, The third way that people know that they have termites on average is they'll have a construction worker come in or a contractor remodeler come in, open up a wall, and oh my God, there's wood damage all over the place. So those are the three scenarios that we find most people fall into when they suspect they have termites or they know they have termites. Now, termites are different than other wood destroying pests like carpenter ants, carpenter bees, and wood beetles in the sense that termites have a bacteria in their gut that lives symbiotically with them. And what this allows the termites to do is not just eat the wood, but actually digest it, use the cellulose to make energy, and that's their actual food source, as opposed to things like carpenter ants, carpenter bees, and wood beetles, who can actually chew the wood. They may even eat it, but they have no way to digest that cellulose, and it just passes right through them. Most notably, you'll see that in carpenter bees, where they're excreting a bunch of wood and whatnot. So if you suspect you have subterranean termites, and the reason you suspect that is because you're seeing wood shavings or frass on the ground, guess what? Not subterranean termites. Most likely it's carpenter ants. So termites can actually eat the wood, chew it, digest it, and actually use it for food, whereas other wood destroying insects that we have in Pennsylvania here cannot. So as we can see in the video here, I'm just scraping, this is during an actual treatment. So what we do is we scrape all the mud shelter tubing off just so that when we come back to do a warranty check and to inspect to make sure everything went well with the treatment, we can see if there's any new activity. If we just left those in place, we wouldn't know what was old, what was new. And we do the same philosophy with our rodent control and some of our other pest control as well. So we can see here, this is a contractor had opened up this wall to do some remodeling, and lo and behold, there's termite activity all throughout the 2x4. Now, a common question we get asked is, had I not done any remodeling, how would I have known there were termites? Well, in certain circumstances, you wouldn't know unless you saw wing swarmers or the damage actually was coming through the wall or structurally where you would see it. Here's a wood panel, obviously very out in the open, exposed, went down to the basement, and boom, it's right in your face. That's termite activity. So termites can present themselves, and their damage can present themselves in many different ways. If you have mud shelter tubings or if you have these galleries and channels in the wood itself, definitely an indication of termites. But why are the termites there? Well, there's a moisture issue somewhere, and a lot of times what it is it's downspouts at your house coming off of your gutters are not channeling and funneling that water away from the foundation. So what happens is when that water is just discharging at the foundation, it's just allowing all that water to sit there. And like I said, these subterranean termites need a moisture content. They love moisture, they love the wet environment, and they also love wood. So guess what? With those downspouts discharging right at your foundation, that is just a haven for termites. So when we go do an evaluation at a client's home, of course we're going to inspect for termites. We're going to find out how severe it is and go over our treatment methods, which I'll show you at the end of the video here, some of our different treatment methods that we use. But we're also going to talk about moisture control and water channeling, because the termites, for the most part, the subterranean ones, are just a symptom of a larger problem. And that larger problem could just be a $5 downspout extension that you could have gotten 10 years ago but didn't realize it. So keeping water away from the foundation of your home is the best preventative measure that you can do. Now, if you already have termites and you hire a professional company like us, we have basically 3 different treatment methods that we'll use. And I have individual videos showing in depth all of these treatment methods. So the first one we do is the Termidor treatment method. This is where we provide a complete chemical barrier around the foundation of your home. It involves us trenching around the house, a very small trench, 4 inches by 2 inches, where you have concrete patio or something like that. You'll see here that we're going to drill through that so that we can inject the termiticide directly into the soil. This is the most complete method and the most effective method to completely treat for termites around your house and prevent them for the years to come. And the reason for that is because it's a complete chemical barrier. We're saturating that foundation with the best termiticide that we have available to us professionals on the market today. Now, there's certain circumstances where we can't use Termidor. Maybe there's a well on the property, maybe there's a lake or a pond or a stream, or people just, the homeowners just don't want any chemical on the property at all. Okay, fair enough. So in that case, we have termite monitoring and baiting stations. So this here is showing the Trilona system, which is an all-in-one baiting and monitoring system. And what's really neat about these are that you place them every 10 to 20 feet around the structure of around the perimeter of the structure. And what happens is there's pure cellulose inside of those. They look like solar lights, but there's pure cellulose in there mixed with a termiticide. Now, it's not liquid termiticide, so what happens when the termites are in the soil, they're going to find these stations, they're going to enter them, and they're going to start feeding on that pure cellulose, and it has a termiticide mixed in with it. So what they're doing is they're chewing on that, and they're going to take it back to the colony, and it's going to kill them that way. The third major method that we use for treatment of termites is called boricare, which is a boric acid-based salt solution that we can apply directly to the wood. We use this situation in areas where maybe we're going to put the baiting system on the outside and we're going to do this on the inside. And this particular salt solution will soak directly into the wood and it'll last for decades. So it's a really good preventative. I can't necessarily say I would use this as my end-all be-all if I had an active termite infestation, but it's a great supplement for preventative measures. So again, we are the termite professionals. We are the experts in termite control and prevention. And if you have termites or you suspect you do, let's talk. Give Prudential Pest Solutions a call at 484-401-4361. Visit us online at prudentialpest.com and let's help protect your biggest investment, which is your home, for years and years.